How's it going, guys? Dynamite here, coming to you as always from the Digital Warfare 24/7 forums, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys an overview of a futuristic first-person shooter that is going to be coming out in just a couple of days here on the 19th. That is going to be Crysis 3. Now, the only real game series that I've dedicated real time to have been the Halo series and the Call of Duty series, so for me to consider branching out is a pretty big deal, but when I was playing the multiplayer beta this past week with my buddy Stogie, I really was impressed by a lot of the features that I saw, and it's the first time that I found a game that really seems like it combines the best of both Halo and Call of Duty. So I'm just doing this commentary to give you guys kind of an overview of my thoughts on the beta and what I'm looking forward to, what some of my concerns are for when the full version is released in just a couple of days here. So first of all, just a basic overview. I don't know a whole lot about the campaign, not having played Crysis 1 or 2, but what I can grab from the beta is that it's a futuristic first-person shooter that is largely centered around nanosuit technology. Specifically, you're trying to balance several different abilities that your nanosuit has, and those are going to be armor, cloak, and I guess the third one you just call power. But armor and cloak are actually mapped to your bumpers on your controller. So when you turn on armor, it gives your character a lot more resistivity to damage, and if you turn on cloak, it makes you pretty much almost invisible. It's a cloak that's a lot more effective than, say, the camo power-up in Halo. And then the third aspect of the nanosuit is power. There are a couple different special abilities that you have, such as this really high double jump that you can do using the A button. There's a slide move that you can do. If you're sprinting, that takes up that kind of ability, that sort of thing. So it's really interesting in that you're constantly balancing these three different aspects of your nanosuit. You have to figure out when you want to use these different abilities to best benefit your playstyle. So moving on to some of the general comments I had about this game. This is part of where I really started to see that this game had some potential, I think, is that this game has really smooth movement mechanics. Now, the reason why Halo and Call of Duty have been my two favorite game series over the years is that they have that really smooth, really fast responsiveness that makes me feel like I'm actually immersed in the game experience. And Crysis 3, at least the beta for me, it had that same feel, and that made me really excited when I saw that, you know? The running, the jumping, the shooting, the aiming, everything is just extremely intuitive, and it just feels great. So that was one thing that I really appreciated about it. Another general comment I have about this game is that it is not a twitch shooter like like Call of Duty is. It is more of a game that has longer kill times like Halo. So just because your enemy sees you first doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to die first. There's a lot more actual gunplay and strategy decisions you can make when you go head-to-head with an opponent. And I really like that because I feel like it sort of opens up some more opportunities for people to use some actual strategy in their gunplays instead of just having either the superior connection or the superior, twitch reflexes. Another comment I have is that the connection seemed overall generally very good, but this could be because the longer kill times are making the lag a little bit less apparent, but overall I had a lot less, like bullshit moments like I seem to have all the time in Halo or in Call of Duty with lag compensation. So yeah, overall it combines the customization of COD with longer kill times and gameplay mechanics that you'd find in Halo. The customization is in fact very good. You can equip 3 different tiers of perks, you can equip different weapons, attachments, all sorts of things, and that is really the main draw that draws me to Call of Duty. So pretty much it combines the best of Halo, the best of Call of Duty. That is why I'm excited about it. So to review a little bit about the controls for this game, like I said, armor and cloak are on the bumpers, and then because you obviously don't have a bumper to throw your lethal grenade, you actually double tap Y to pull out your lethal. And this actually works very well. You can double tap Y and just throw the grenade out there. It doesn't feel at all clumsy or anything. Also, the melee is only going to be on the thumbstick for the control setup, which means that there isn't any tactical layout at this point where you can put B, where you can set B to be melee and your thumbstick to be crouch, but we'll see, maybe they'll implement something like that in the full featured version. The melee system is very similar to how it is in the Halo series, with a couple different hits to kill. Feels very balanced, certainly much more reliable, and less powerful than the knife attack in the Call of Duty series. Then there's also an air stomp attack where if you're really high up in the air you can hit B, and then while you're falling to the ground you'll fall and you'll sort of create this huge area of influence, this massive damage radius as you land. But then after that it leaves you kind of vulnerable, so you have to be careful about how you use that. Talking about the weapons, sniping is very similar to how it is in Halo, with a headshot needed for a one-shot kill. When I was playing the beta, the snipers were almost completely non-existent. It seemed like the whole sniping, trick-shotting community was highly favoring a weapon called the Predator Bow. And the Predator Bow, what it does is if you draw the bow all the way back, it will be a one-hit kill, regardless of where you hit the person. So what people do is they walk around with cloak and their Predator Bow fully drawn, and they just take people out that way. I've seen the Predator Bow used with far more effectiveness than the snipers so far. Other weapons are similar more or less to the LMG, assault rifle, SMG, shotgun sort of tier setup that Call of Duty has. You'll see that I'm using a weapon that's much more like a SMG here. That is going to be the Feline SMG. There are also some special weapons that spawn sometimes, like there's a pinch rifle, I think it's called, which is some sort of alien weapon. And there's special melee weapons that you can find around the map as well. Now, perks in this game are actually called nanosuit modules, and you start off with a base ability for the perk, and then as in previous Call of Duty releases, there are pro tiers that you can elevate your perks to. And some of the more useful ones that the beta let you play around with were auto armor, which what that basically does is as soon as you start taking damage, it'll trigger your armor ability without your actually having to press the bumper to do so. And then another one that I found really good was the proximity alert, which is basically it will play this little sort of beeping, pinging sound as an enemy is getting closer to you in proximity. And this is really good because of how powerful the cloak is. I found it a really good ability. And then a lot of the other abilities are just weapon modifiers similar to those that you'd find in Call of Duty. There's also a perk that lets you basically call in Killstreaks with one less kill, and I'll talk about that here now too. Actually, Killstreaks work a little bit differently in Crysis. As far as I've seen, you actually have to confirm the kill of the person you killed by running over their body and picking up a dog tag. I believe Crysis 3 was actually the first game to implement kill confirmed, but it is a pretty interesting aspect. But that perk that I just mentioned, it'll automatically confirm kills if you use it, so you don't actually have to walk over the body of the person that you just killed. Killstreaks seem pretty good. There's the first one that you get to is a maximum radar that shows everybody up on your radar, and you can combine that with a perk that'll actually show the direction of the players as well, which makes it kind of similar to the Blackbird or the VSAT in Call of Duty. But moving up from that is something called the Swarmer, which is a little missile pod that you carry around. It slows you down, but it has a really good rate of fire. Other kill streaks that you can get include, let's see, there's a EMP that'll knock out the nanosuit abilities of your enemies. And another thing that's really interesting is that if you can get all the way to the top of the kill streak chain, you get what's called a max nanosuit. And the max nanosuit will basically make it so that your armor and your stealth abilities, I believe this is right anyway, I don't think the energy ever drops for them, so you can just use your abilities constantly. So moving on to what some of my concerns might be for this game. First of all is the issue of hand-holding or favoring low-level players at the expense of upper-level players. There are death streaks in this game. For instance, you get an armor boost at 4 deaths, which sort of sounds similar to Painkiller, but I don't believe the effect is actually as high. And then there's that auto armor perk that I mentioned earlier that concerns me a little bit, just because you don't necessarily have to toggle your armor on to get that added protection. But thinking further about that, I actually don't mind it so much, because you're already going to have taken a little bit of damage before your armor comes on with this auto armor perk. So if you're not using it, and if you're regulating the armor yourself, you're actually going to block those first couple shots better, and you're actually going to have better damage resistivity. So another issue that I had was camping with the cloak ability, which I talked about earlier. The faster you move, the shorter your cloak duration lasts. So people can just sit still, and the cloak will actually last for a pretty long time. They'll just camp on objectives and stuff, completely invisible. they should have something along the lines of how Treyarch managed to balance the Ghost perk in Black Ops 2, I think. But like I said, using the proximity alert perk will really help you out with that, so I don't think that's maybe going to be too much of a deal. Overall, though, I'm definitely going to buy this game, and you guys can definitely expect me to be putting out some gameplay from it. I will still, of course, be putting out my usual Call of Duty content, but I feel like this is a really great opportunity for a developer to show how the advantages that you find in both the Halo series and the COD series can be combined together to make a really, really fantastic multiplayer experience. So we'll have to see after the release exactly how it goes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.